Hey everyone, and welcome to PGN Live. It is December 18th, 2025. It is Thursday morning here on the West Coast, 10:10 a.m., and that means we've got our weekly Famitsu sales charts to go over. It was quite a big week in Japan. We've got the numbers right here. It looks good. Software was solid. Hardware was solid. Not quite as big of hardware numbers as last week, but still really good. We're going to go over all of that. Also, I compiled a list, and that list is continuing to grow as people remind me of more and more things. But that list is of titles in 2026 that are already confirmed and are coming to Nintendo Switch 2. And it looks really good. It's a very promising list. I originally put together 22 games. About half or so were exclusive, the other half third party. And the third party games, some of them were new entries that would be coming out day and date with other platforms releases of said games next year. And some of the third party games were like, okay, titles that came out on other systems yesteryear, for instance, but that would still be new on Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. And then people started being like, what about this game? Hey, you forgot this one. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's more than 22. There's 24. Oh no, there's 25. So we're going to go over that and more. We should be able to have a 1-hour stream today, or, our basic Nintendo 64-minute long stream. But I am expecting a phone call, and that would take priority, in which I'd have to end the stream if that call comes, when that call comes, just to answer and talk. So if the stream is on the shorter end, I apologize in advance, but the intention today is to get our usual Nintendo 64-minute long stream. I have the pop-up chat ready. I see some of you are already in here. Looks like we've got 6 people plus watching. So we'll see how many people actually heard that little bit of an intro. But who is here to kick things off? We've got Crazy Scott. What's up? John Doe Juggalo. Hey, Paul. Joycey J69. Paul! Hi, Paul! Right in time for my lunch break. Hi, Joycey J. Hi, John. Hi, Crazy Scott. Hi, Michael S. Gutmann, saying hey ya. David Patterson, 0119. Hello, Paul and everyone. Hello, David. Steak 1024. Hey, Paul and chat. Hey, Steak 1024. Welcome. How are you all doing today? It's been an interesting couple of days. We went over the Circana report yesterday, and a lot of people were shocked that PlayStation 5, a 5-year-old system, beat Nintendo Switch 2 in the United States. Well, we did know previously that PS5 approximately doubled Nintendo Switch 2 sales for Black Friday, but presumably for the first few weeks of November, you would think that Nintendo Switch 2 would be outselling PS5. That might have been the case, but Black Friday could have been enough to overall make PS5 win decisively for the month of November. That evidently was true. However you want to word it, spin it, because we don't know exactly what sold per day, per week, etc. But PS5 outsold Nintendo Switch 2 for the month of November in the United States. Seemingly also in more of Europe than not. In Japan, Nintendo Switch 2 clearly won the month of November. For the whole world for the month, I don't know. Safer to say PS5 won for the month, like overall in the world. But it's not this doom and gloom. We're not living in a time where first place winner is amazing and second place is loser, horrible. No. In March of 2022, 5 years after Nintendo Switch was out, barely a year and 4 months into PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series existing, Nintendo Switch outsold those two systems that month in the United States, in Japan, worldwide. 5 years later, huh? So where are we at now? PS5 is 5 years old, and on its fifth year month of November 2025, it outsold Nintendo Switch 2. Didn't mean that Nintendo Switch 2 is a failure 7 months in. Just like it didn't mean in 2022, that March, when PS5 lost to Nintendo Switch, that PS5 was a failure. No. Different factors. Both systems could succeed. It's amazing the spin that people have and how far they will take one fact and just derail to paint their own narrative to make what they want true, when in actuality, not the case. Different things could succeed at the same time. Michael S. Gutmann says, it sucks that most third parties are key cards on Switch 2. I would rather just get an install card for PS5, so that's why I stopped getting game key cards for Switch 2. So the only games that I buy for Switch 2 are physical, so basically just exclusives. What about digital, Michael? Because I mean, if you think about it in a way, the last disc-based system to purely play games off the disc was Wii U. PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PS5, you all need to download the game's data onto the system, take up that storage space, regardless of whether you have the disc inserted or not, digital or not. So, in a sense, the game key cards are comparable in a way to the modern day disc-based systems in that, regardless of whether you own the key card or not, they're taking up that hard drive space. Only difference is some of these discs do have data on them, whereas a key card just unlocks the data from the digital download. But what about just buying a digital game then? Then you have the convenience of the game is always on your system, not the inconvenience of having to take in and out a cartridge that is blank. Yeah. Like, I guess if you already have Final Fantasy VII Remake integrated on PS5, you don't need to own it again. But what is the better option? Buying the game on disc on PS5 now, or like early next year, or buying the game on digital download or key card for Nintendo Switch 2, where technically I guess the ownership is slightly different in the terms of the key card aspect than the data being on a disc. If even all of the data is on a disc on PS5, even though you have to upload it. But one version being that you can take it on the go, play it portably, docked, and a tabletop mode, versus one just limited to TV experience, unless if you buy an additional PS Portal and play. Because it kind of comes down to that for a lot of people. And a lot of people, I don't think, care that much that, do I own the disc? Do I own the cartridge? Do I own the digital download? Am I really going to be scurrying around like 20 years later still playing this game when the rest of life has moved on and you're like, oh my gosh, what if I can't download it? It's probably going to be safe. Everything's going to be fine. I don't think a lot of people are worrying about that as much as folks online are making it out to be. But we'll see. Yeah, just curious. You, chat, anybody could chime in on that topic. 2026 is going to be one of the best years of gaming. I think it might be, David Patterson. I mean, it's hard to say. Every year is good. Every year is like great. There's never been a year in all of gaming that I think I was a part of since I started playing where there wasn't something that I really wanted to play that year, rent, buy, between arcades and home consoles and portable consoles. Every year's got something, you know? I think. Tabby Cat Games says, hello, chat. Hello. Mohammed Tarish, bro, people are crazy. Some people have their own thought processes, to each their own. I don't think accurate, but okay. Nintex, too dope, says doomed, except ye fates. Time to get outside and play tag and red light, green light. Bring the board games too. Mwahaha, doom. A good balance is important in life, you know? You gotta play video games, but you gotta exercise. You gotta work on your abs, do some cardio, do a little jogging, stretch, read, draw, color, paint, plant a little garden, grow some tomatoes, talk with friends, hang with friends, go watch a UFC fight. Like, you got to be varied in life. And then I think you worry a little bit less about smaller things. Like, if all of your eggs are in one basket, then I guess you could focus too much on the negative of something that you don't like. Like, darn it, these game key cards are annoying. It's not the game on the cartridge, and it still takes up my space on the system, and I still have to download it. And what happens in the future? Instead of just enjoying the medium, and I think you'd be more inclined to enjoying the medium and the entertainment if you also had other things to look forward to, like other movies, comic books, TV shows, music, friends to talk to, etc. Like, that little aspect would be less troublesome. They forgot Nintendo released the console 6 months ago. There is a reason they even saw the random RAM coming. People forget who Nintendo is. We got enough to get together for Red Rover. Okay, talking with each other. Michael doesn't care about the convenience. All my games are right next to my monitor, and I only switch games once or twice a day. I also care about the box art. Yeah, I do like the boxes. Obviously I'm gaming history guy, right? It's neat to be able to hold this, Beyond Good and Evil, for Nintendo GameCube, with the original instruction booklet. This is a black and white one, but still an instruction booklet with the disc. Like, this does feel good to own. This is my preferred way of holding on to gaming history. An old school disc, an old school cartridge. I like it. I like having this copy of Wii Fit with this big old instruction booklet. That is a color instruction booklet with this nice Wii Fit disc all the way from 2006, 19 years old right here. Oh no, 2007 Wii Fit, I think, yeah. I like that. But I'll never let the medium get in the way of playing. And sometimes I will choose digital, because sometimes digital has made more sense. Like with Splatoon 3, for instance, since you could share your games with others in your NSO membership, I bought Splatoon 3 first physical, and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Before I open it up, if I get it digitally, I could play it on the OLED model or the base NS. My son, wife, daughter could play on the other Nintendo Switch, and we could play together independently or in one match at the same time. So effectively, buying Splatoon 3 digitally earned me 2 copies of the game, because a physical copy I could only play on one system at a time. Digital, 2 simultaneous people could play on 2 different systems independently or together in one match, one lobby. It just made sense to get Splatoon 3 digitally. There you go. Now, maybe some people would say, yeah, that's true, but then it doesn't apply to me. I'm not married, I don't have kids, I don't share an NSO membership with anyone else. I'd rather spend the same amount of money, take the game in and out, and just own that cartridge. Like, yeah, I was giving up the cartridge and the case. Oh man, I like the artwork. Even though, to be fair, with all of these games and my current modern day games, they are bookshelved like this. So I'm really looking at spines, not so much the art, but it is still nice knowing that I have it. But as the future moves on, if we get to a point where there's no physical at all, you're darn right I'm still going to be playing. I'll never not. You know? Tsukino Ame says you had turkey and cheese sandwiches for lunch. What are the sales numbers? I can't see. Tim McDonald, I'm going to go over them in just a moment. I know that they're pretty small on the screen. I'm going to go over them in just one moment. None of my in real life friends are gamers. They make me go outside, and you know what? That's good for you. That's true, Joycey. Like, it's good to have a variety of different types of friends because then it makes you more varied too. I started coloring again. I got a kawaii coloring book for only $3 at Walmart. That's cool. That's good. J Biggs, Mr. NY for life. Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, what's up? I do miss a good instruction booklet and extras like maps. Yeah. Game consoles or games? Game consoles? Yeah, I agree. Pokemon Fan 34, hi. What is good game for old system? Aaron Cidio asks. What is a good game for an old system? Depends on what system, but I'll just go with Super Mario 64 for Nintendo 64. That's a good game for an old system. My shelves are completely full from 20 years of physical gaming collecting. After all those years, there is something cathartic about just getting a digital game nowadays, not to expand the clutter. Yeah. Caps Paranormal. Hey, Paul. I have noticed something over the last few weeks. Publishers are falling over themselves getting games out on Switch 2. There are more games and Switch 2 editions or patches nearly daily. Yeah. I'm waiting. It's like every week I'm like almost waiting for when's the next one going to drop? When is WB going to say, here's the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Mortal Kombat 1. MK1 launched fine on Nintendo Switch, but it was a little rough around the edges. Unlike Mortal Kombat 11, which came out of the gate more solid. But MK1 in time became more and more competent on NS. Well, and it just was like $8 over the weekend, like Black Friday and through Cyber Monday, and a little bit afterwards, maybe. Like, really cheap. What if that gets a Nintendo Switch 2 edition? That'd be cool. I'm almost expecting like it to happen. I don't know. Or some upgrade like Red Dead Redemption 2. But you're right. More and more developers are hopping on board. I would go outside, but it's raining and cold. I will go outside tomorrow to watch the squirrels. That sounds like a fun day, Tsukino Ame. I love the instruction booklets. I hear Peach. Make gaming manuals great again. This one probably does. Just don't like to connect all the time. Xbox 360, you could play Quantum Break connected to Control and Alan Wake. Xbox 360 was a great system. MK1, I've heard, has no plans for Switch 2, unfortunately, says Nintex 2 Dope. I mean, I guess the perceived effort to bring it up to like what the game was on PS5 and Xbox Series would be you're writing a whole new game. I mean, that was a whole different SKU made for Nintendo Switch. Kind of like Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy, I should say. It was a different SKU. So when they upgraded Hogwarts Legacy, they didn't port over the PS5 Xbox Series version. They actually used the Nintendo Switch version and upped it. I don't think that for Mortal Kombat they would be porting the other version. They would have to up the base version. That's a lot of effort. Why did they do it with Hogwarts? Probably because Hogwarts sold better on Nintendo Switch and was a bigger deal for the company than Mortal Kombat 1. Not that MK1 failed on NS. No, if I'm not mistaken, it sold pretty well. But yeah, that just is the case. It is what it is, you know. How about a minor patch, though? A little fix beyond what the system does on its own. That'd be cool. We'll see. Farming Simulator came out of nowhere. System Shock releases today. It's just feast or famine for Nintendo gamers. Looks like it's feast time. Get the likes up. Yes. I used to let physical media get in my way of gaming because there was a time where I was too lazy to take the disc out of my Wii, GameCube, and Xbox 360. So the game that was in the system is the game I would play. Sometimes I would leave a game in the system for months. Yeah. You see how varied folks are with their gaming habits? Yeah. True. Alrighty. I'm caught up to chat. I could answer more questions if they come in, or I could move on to software sales followed by hardware sales. We do have 28 people watching now. We do have 17 likes. I think that's a good amount of people to be present for the reading of the software and hardware sales. If more come in later, we could do like a little bit of a recap or something. I'll read a couple more comments and then I'm going to hop into it. Nintex2Dope says, I loved MK1. I played the Switch version and had no major issues. The game got so much hate, I don't get it. I agree. A couple of years ago when it launched, I actually did a video on YouTube playing both versions back to back. And I was equally experienced at the time, meaning I think it was like the first time I turned on both copies of the game on Nintendo Switch and PS5 back to back. And I think I played and loaded up the Nintendo Switch version first, followed by the PS5 version. And was pleased with the cool effects and special effects and happenings on the NS version. And then I think I played the PS5 version second. Was like, okay, this does look better and it's running more smoothly with less loading and tearing. But dang, that first experience was fun. And this experience is also fun. The game didn't deserve as much junk as it got, even though it had some rough elements, to be fair. But then it just got better and better. If it's still on sale for $8, by the way, like, dang, I gotta recommend it. I already recommended it a couple of streams ago, but yeah, totally worth it in my opinion. What is the game you're most excited to get to next? Steak 1024 asks. Even though I already own it, I'm looking forward to revisiting Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade on Nintendo Switch 2. That comes out in January. Oh, I'm a big 2D platforming fan, and I really like Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island back on SNES. I loved Yoshi's Woolly World on Wii U, Yoshi's Crafted World on Nintendo Switch. So Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is something that I'm really looking forward to in the first half of next year. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, I imagine that's going to be like some kind of September, October game. Maybe earlier, maybe August or May. I don't know. I just get the vibe that second half, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to that. Big one for me is Wolverine, too. I love Marvel. I love X-Men. Insomniac Games is excellent as a company. Grand Theft Auto 6, undeniable. Next November. A whole year delay. Whew. You realize that this game was supposed to come out a couple of weeks ago before it got delayed to May and then to November again? That's going to be big. So yeah, those are some of the games that I'm pretty stoked for. Final Fantasy, Yoshi, Fire Emblem, Wolverine, Grand Theft Auto 6. That we know about. 007. There's plenty. We're going to look over that too. We're going to look at next year's games. The Switch 2 hardware sales is hard to interpret this week. Software sales in the US in November, but 200,000 are very strong in Japan. You know, the game is still, the system is still selling worldwide. When it does a couple 100,000 in Japan, you know, it's also moving a few 100,000 in the US, a couple 100,000 in Europe. and a few 100,000 between Australia, South America, elsewhere in Mexico and Canada, and the rest of the world. And when you add up several territories, each of a couple to a few 100,000, you get several 100,000, close to a million. It's a lot. Monster Hunter Stories 3, Tomodachi Life, Pokopia, Pokemon Polygale Network of Darkness, Pokemon Coliseum. I'm hoping Yoshi and the Mysterious Book could be very good. I think Yoshi Island on SNES is a 10 out of 10, but they have not really matched or surpassed that game with Yoshi games later in the series. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island might be the best Yoshi game, or Mario 2D game if you call it that. I mean, it's called Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. You do play as Baby Mario in it too. Not as much as Yoshi, but whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it a Yoshi game, which it is, it might be the best 2D Yoshi game. If you want to call it a 2D Mario game, which it also is, right? It's one of the best 2D platformers. I might have missed you recapping the numbers, but what is your take on the weekly sales in the US considering quarterly numbers and Japanese demand? You haven't missed the Japanese data yet. I'm about to go over that like right now. But my take on the US sales in November is it was an overall weak selling month compared to past Novembers. Hardware numbers overall weren't as strong as probably most anticipated. In part, you've got Nintendo Switch 2 stock allocation trying to be most properly distributed between Japan and US, between Europe and Australia, between South America and Canada and Mexico and other Asian markets, etc. Then you've got PS5 down to $400. That is a 20% discount. That's $100 off. $500 for digital, down to $400. That does help. Not doom and gloom. As I said earlier, Nintendo Switch outsold PS5 March 2022 when Nintendo Switch was 5 months old and PS5 was only 1 year, 4 months old. So now, yeah, the 5-year-old PS5 outsold the 7-month-old or 6-month-old Nintendo Switch 2 in a given month. But both are still doing fine, you know? I still have PTSD from blowing on NES carts to try to get them to work. It got so bad that I used to have to put cassette tape or shoe to keep the carts down in the NES to work. Oh, man. Do you think the Border Collie game and the Badger game will come to Switch 2? They were shown off at the Game Awards. I think those are likely candidates. Also, we should take into account Sony discounted their systems pretty steeply. Sales don't equal profitability or success. That is a big sale drop. Like, yeah, it's true. I never try to compare different versions of games based on the system. Judge games based on the system I am playing them on. Fair. In my book, Super Mario World never happened. That was Super Yoshi World. I can't stand that game. Super Mario World? Wait a minute, like the original Super Mario World? You can't stand that game? You're not talking about Yoshi's Island. You're talking about Super Mario World, right? Oh my gosh. Mario with the yellow cape, swapping back and forth between Mario and Luigi. Gosh, those stages, the creativity, the P inflate, the Yoshi, the different colored Yoshis, the wings, the fire effects, all the bosses, the music, the ghost stages, the special star worlds of Tubular and Gnarly, and oh man, you can't stand that game? I mean, to each their own. Woo! It's okay. 007 First Light, Fire Emblem, Resident Evil Generation Pack, Dispatch. Super Mario World was a blast. Super Mario World was peak. Yeah, I did not know anyone really disliked Super Mario World. I can understand not giving it a 10, but disliking it is rare. I think so. Oh, interesting to hear more. Okay, Let's go over the sales. That is one of the things that we got to do on Thursday morning. These are the top 10 best selling video games of the week in Japan, physical sales only, from December 8th through December 14th. In first place, Mario Kart World on Nintendo Switch 2, which sold a whopping 103,861 copies. In second, Pokemon Legends ZA for Nintendo Switch, which moved about half of that number, 50,292 copies. In third, the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Pokemon Legends ZA, it did 40,813 copies. You combine those two together, dang, that's 91,000. That's a lot of Pokemon sales for the week. Kirby Air Riders in fourth on Nintendo Switch 2 moved 39,206 copies. Momotaro Dentetsu 2 on NS2, which did 18,964 units. Momotaro Dentetsu 2 on Nintendo Switch, which it did 18,015. Combined, you're looking at about 37,000 for Momotaro. Very solid. In seventh, Donkey Kong Bonanza with 12,519 units. Up 60%. Nice Nintendo Switch 2 game right there. Looking good. In eighth, the Nintendo Switch version of Minecraft, which did 11,770 copies. In ninth, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Nice seeing it on the chart, especially before next year's bump. 9,513 on Nintendo Switch is what it did. And in 10th place, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. So good seeing it still chart, selling 8,001 copies for the week. It is good seeing, for me personally, the likes of Donkey Kong Bonanza and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment on these charts, because though I don't know if they're going to have evergreen status for like 4 years, I don't think so. At least for Donkey Kong, a few months in, still in demand. Hyrule Warriors, just a month in, but still charting. And that's important. That bodes well for the rest of the year. That bodes well for both games having a nice opening quarter. And I think they'll have mini evergreen status. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza will have greater legs than Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment into 2026. I don't think either game is necessarily going to, like I said, be on the charts for 3-4 years. But DK for a year? I could see it. Hyrule Warriors for a few months? I could see it. And then you've got top 30. That's another avenue, Let me read some comments before I go back into the chart and discuss hardware sales. Super Mario World is the greatest game ever. With Super Mario Bros. 3, I am talking about the one with Baby Mario. Oh, okay. So you're talking about Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. J-Biggs, you didn't like that game. I mean, I loved it. It was very different than Super Mario World, but I thought the aiming and the eggs, the graphics, the music were just excellent. But yeah, everyone's different. That's okay. It's all good. All good. Nintendo's All-Stars 7210. Hi, everyone. Hi there, Nintendo's All-Stars. That baby was annoying. Paul, so far this stream, you've gone for half a mile with me. Good to hear, Michael Powell. Are you on a morning walk? If that's the case, that's pretty cool. That's one of the neat things about streaming. I know that when I listen to a stream, I'm enjoying somebody like Nintendo Prime talking, somebody like Player Essence talking. Those two are the most active, consistent, streamers, Rogers Base, Andres Restart, Mike Odyssey, Andre Game Explain, Vandy, Linz, plenty of people stream as well, but OJ and Nate do so the most regularly. And yeah, I enjoy listening to a stream. Sometime I'll have it in my pocket, my phone, and I'm brushing the pool. Or I have a phone in my hand and I'm watering the grass. Sometimes I cannot talk and interact because I'm washing dishes or dusting around the house. But if I'm able to like sit down and chill, it's also a different type of fun element to like talk and engage. So knowing that you're getting a positive experience right now while you're out on a walk, enjoying the fresh air outside, hopefully, hearing some good gaming talk, hearing some good data, that makes me happy to hear because it's like, I could relate to that when I'm listening to folks talk gaming that I love so much, you know? So you go on that walk, and I hope you continue enjoying the rest of your mile or however long you travel for. Thank you for sharing that. DK is still charting. Lily Young says, hi peeps. J Big says, sees Donkey Kong doing between 7 to 10 million. I would like that. Yoshi's eggs are cute. Nintex too dope says, LOL. LOL. Wow, I'm actually in a walk too. That's cool. Got a couple people walking out there. I like it. That's productive. I completely agree. Got a lot of respect for them and you. I even enjoy Nate sometimes. I don't know much about that guy. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Nate's cool. He's a good guy. And thank you for the kind words. I like to listen when I'm catching up on my computer work. That's good, Tabby. You are so kind, sir. Thank you. Yeah, well, you're welcome. And thank you for bringing the kindness to the chat. All right. Let's go over hardware sales because that's always fun too. I took a peek earlier, so I already kind of know. Nintendo Switch 2 was the #1 best-selling console of the week in Japan, moving 190,944 units. You realize that in these 2 weeks of December alone, literally exactly 2 weeks, exactly through December 14th, Nintendo Switch 2 in Japan alone has sold almost 400,000 units, almost 500,000 freaking units in Japan alone in the first 2 weeks. When you look at that 15 million mark by December 5th, you could basically now add, 190,000 to that number from Japan. So you're looking at like 15.2 million. Maybe a little under because that 15 million was achieved not after 7 days but slightly earlier. So let's call it 15 million. Oh wait. 15.2. Hold on. Let's call it 15.2 million. Let's just call it that as of now, not taking any US data, European data, Australian, rest of North America, South America, Africa, nowhere else in the world. Just Japanese data alone. Let's say Nintendo Switch 2 as of December 14th is at 15.2 million worldwide. Let's say bare minimum, United States, Canada, Mexico, feels like an Animaniacs song. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru. It's been a while since I sung that. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru. Yeah, something like that. That was a good song. Animaniacs was fun. Anyways, you take that roughly 200K, you say bare minimum, the rest of the world matched Japan, which would be wild if they barely matched Japan. But let's say that was the case. I think you could say minimum Nintendo Switch 2 is at 15.4 million right now as of December 14th. And like I said, my own projection, my thought, my estimation, where I think Nintendo Switch 2 will be, is somewhere in the 16 to 17.5 million range. if you have 2 more weeks to go, and let's say we get another 200,000, 200,000, so another 400, and let's say we are at bare minimum 15.4, that makes it 15.8 plus another 400,000, 16.2. I said 16 to 17.5. Splitting the difference, call it a 16.75 exactly. You can see how 16.2 is like, I think, very, very reasonable. I think 16 would be less than what Nintendo would hope if they only hit 16, because then that puts the pressure on to sell 3 million in the next quarter. But I don't think that that's unattainable either, you know? So yeah, I think the system's where it should be. I think it's on the right track. In second place, anyhow, is the Nintendo Switch, which did 31,344 units for the week. Nintendo Switch for the month of December is at 82,000 in Japan alone. That's awesome. That's a couple 100,000 in the world for December. We know the system will hit 155 million as of that December 5th. So you could probably say the system's at least 155 million 50,000 or something like that in the world. In third place, 18,912 units was sold on the PlayStation 5, or the PS5, I should say, sold that many units. You know, that's it's not a great December for Sony in Japan, but it is 44,000 still. Now, PS5 definitely makes up far more of its worldwide sales in Europe and North America over Japan, but still. Xbox Series in fourth place, which did 183. PS4 in fifth, managing to still sell 13. Doing some Christmas decorations, boxes, daily walk. Nintendo Switch 2 doing well. More than 15.2 because it's more than 7 days later. I mean, yeah, like right now, it is December 18th. This data goes up to 4 days later, so it's got to be more than 15.2, you know? 15.2 would be Japan alone. 15.4 is the, I would say, more likely number. So if you want to say like 15,450,000, that might be where it's at like today. I'm not going to make that post. I'm not, because I don't know. That would be just a guesstimate, purely a guesstimate based off of what I know, what I'm seeing. I would say like, okay, I think that now, as of December 18th, the Nintendo Switch 2 is at 15,450,000 worldwide, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if I'm pretty close. Maybe before the end of the year. I guess I'll see how it is. Oh, if I hear anything concrete before the end of the year, I think I could share that. But if I don't get anything, maybe I'll make a, based off of what we gathered, what we've been told, what we know from certain sales, factually know, certain things hypothesizing, I think this is how Nintendo Switch 2 fared for the month of December, and thus its first calendar year on the market. Maybe I'll make some kind of post like that. We'll see. I mean, I guess that's what the live stream is for, is that, you know, I'm not putting out there an official statement from somebody who gave me any news. I'm not publicly stating on X or in a designated video, this is my for sure opinion. I am live calculating with you all during the stream my opinion. Still not throwing it out there willy-nilly, but you could see, okay, live talking to you right now, I'm expressing thoughts and how I'm coming up with what I think it is compared to what I know, adding the two together. By the way, 37 people watching, 25 likes. Thank you all for being here right now. I appreciate it. Shout outs to Animaniacs. Hello, nurse! That's right, Animaniacs. That's fun stuff. We are the Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. So sit back and relax while Bill Clinton plays the sax. We're Animaniacs. Come join the Warner Brothers and in the Warner movie lot. Oh, come join the Warner Brothers and their Warner sister Dot as they play around in the Warner movie lot. And Button chases Mindy. Well, that's a fun song. Ah! Animaniacs is fun. Such a good show back in the day. Such good music. And then you add in, we're Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice, their genes have been spliced. They're Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain. Before each night is done, the song will be uphurled by the dawning of the sun to take over the world. We're Pinky and the Brain, we're Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. The laboratory mice, their genes have been spliced. We're Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain. Nerf! That's not bad. That's not bad. I guess I haven't sung that in a while, but the lyrics might have been a little bit off, but more or less between Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain, that's kind of how they go, right? 1 million from the 5th of December to December 31st is possible. When at day 14 with Just Japan, excuse me, we're at 15.2. Yeah. Charles Trudell, 8308. Pokemon Fan 34 says, you think it'll be more than 15 million? Already supposed to have hit 15 million as of December 5th. Yeah, Charles. Hence, to get to Paul's estimation, we have to get 1 more million for the rest of the month. I put up on X the other day. Oh, I could share that. We're done with the hardware sales. Oh, we got to get into this. I was going to share briefly. Maybe I'll do that later, because I do want to get into like Nintendo Switch 2 games next year. What I put up is an approximation of how Nintendo Switch 2 has fared each month between June and now. We'll get into that later, maybe. Warner sister Dot, my wife and I always do Pinky and the Brain. I loved how the little brother was obsessed with Don Nuts. Then Text 2 Dope says, when do you think Switch 2 will be at 50 to 55 million? When do I think Switch 2 will be at 50 to 55 million? My old estimation, I'm not budging on it. I've considered, gosh, do I raise it a little bit because of Nintendo's thing? Do I lower it? Do I just stick with it? I've been holding on to this thing for like 13, 14 months. Before Nintendo Switch 2 was officially unveiled even. Just based off of what I heard, knew, thought, speculated. I came up with my own number of upwards of 22.5 million by June 30th, 2026. At the time, I didn't have the date. I just said a year after the system comes out. When we found out that it would be coming out June 5th, I was like, okay, that statement that I made several months ago, that means through June 30th, 1 year later, giving the system basically 12 3/4 months, right? Call it 13 months. It's a year. It's the calendar month a year later, but some more days than exactly 365, So excuse me, I'm still on that train of thought of 22.5 million by then, which passes GameCube, which is wild. But then to answer your question, when do I think it'll do like 50 to 55 million? Gosh, it would have to match that first year run. Boom! With hype, with big releases, some kind of 3D Mario, Animal Crossing has to do well, some kind of new Mario Kart update. Got to get a little bit of a bump from the Super Mario Galaxy movie, maybe a Zelda release. Continuous support of third parties. Grand Theft Auto 6 would certainly help. If we get a new Mario Galaxy game or Odyssey game or new 3D Mario of some sort, Ocarina of Time remake, something like that, then you're looking at like, yeah, you could match that first year's worth of success, and then maybe you do better in the second year, perhaps. But economic situations, tariffs, prices, is the system going to go up, etc.? I don't know. But you could conceivably say, gosh, if they could reach that 22.5 by June 30th, I think by June 30th of 2027, what's to say it's not at like 46 at that point, Selling a little bit more than it did in its first year. And if it could do 46 by June 30th of 2027, 46 by June 30th of 2027, then it does 50 million by December 31st, 2007. So getting into January 1st of 2028, Nintendo Switch 2 will have sold by then, in 2.5 years, 50 million units. That is my very, boom, I'm trying to come up with it as fast as I can to answer your question, thought, since you asked. 50 million, January 1st, 2028. Yeah. Animaniacs and Tiny Toons were awesome. We're tiny, we're toony, we're all the little loony, and in this cartoony, we're invading your TV. Tiny Toons was awesome too. Great game, Tiny Toons Adventures on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Really good looking title too. I like the Animaniacs more than Pinky and the Brain. I love Tiny Toons. Harriet is the go-to talk on the phone friend. New Pokemon game. Yeah, Pokemon would sell well. Hey guys, after dropping Prince of Persia: The Two Thrones 2 times, started on the PSP like 12 years ago, then PC 2 years ago, I finally finished the game and the trilogy. That's cool, YNM06. Prince of Persia is a great series. Do I have one of them here? No. Well, I just did like 2, 3, 4 Prince of Persia games for gaming history. Yeah. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, Warrior Within, The Two Thrones. What a great trilogy on Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox back in the day. I know they're taking their time with the Sands of Time remake, because when they first showed it off, it wasn't up to snuff with a lot of people's expectations. So probably good that they went in and decided, hey, we got to take more time. Because they have something in there. They have a really good game on their hands. The remake got you hyped to go back. Cool. What I'm getting at is, does Nintendo effectively lap Sony sales before PS6? Well, before PS6 even comes out, it's kind of going to be a situation where you've got a hot Nintendo Switch 2 that is peaking with amazing games that could potentially be more affordable than it is now, alongside a brand new PS6 that, though will be better than PS5, might not be such a generational leap forward where the necessity in buying a PS6 over PS5 is justified for people. Also, dependent on how much it costs. Like if it is an $800 base system, in which its games are also 80, while the PS5 that's still competent is getting some of the PS6 games, kind of like how PS4 got some of the PS5 games for a while. So Nintendo Switch 2 would still benefit, kind of like Nintendo Switch benefited, even when PS5 and Xbox Series came out. So I don't know if that answers your question exactly, but it does help Nintendo. It does work in their favor that they've got this new start of a generation. To be clear, Nintendo Switch kicked off the 9th gen hardware race. 8th gen began with the Nintendo 3DS. 3DS, PS Vita, Wii U, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Those 5 systems represent the 8th gen in gaming. Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X represent the 9th generation of gaming. And the 10th generation of gaming has begun with Nintendo Switch 2. It doesn't matter if there's a few years in between the releases. There were a few years of release in between when the Sega Dreamcast kicked off its generation back in 1998 in Japan, and 3 years later when Nintendo GameCube and Xbox debuted in Japan/worldwide. That's 3 years of a time frame. Yet Sega Dreamcast, Game Boy Advance, PlayStation 2, Nintendo GameCube, and Xbox, all 5 of those systems are all part of that same generation. Just like then the Nintendo DS, PSP, Xbox 360, Wii, and PS3 all made up that generation. That's a lump. That's a lump of time. And that spans from 2004 with DS through 2.5 years later in 2006. And you look at, 3DS kicking things off in 2011 to Xbox One and PS4 in 2013. You're looking at a couple of 2.5 years. You're looking at Nintendo Switch and PS5 and Xbox Series. You're looking at 3 years. You're looking at Nintendo Switch 2, a 2025 machine. If the competition comes out with their successors in November of 2027, that's going to be 2.5 years. But Nintendo kind of changing up the releases of when they come out with a console, having their own year, has been benefiting them for these last couple of generations. The Forgotten Sands is also so underrated, so good. I'm curious as to when Nintendo's next 3D and Zelda will release. Yeah, User B. Those should be amazing, especially given how we know little to nothing about them. True. The GTA 6 PS5 and PS6 edition bundles will definitely help PS5 and PS6 sell way more. The PS5 will definitely sell more than the PS4 and PS1. I have PS5 outselling PS1. It might outsell PS4. I originally saw PS5 selling a little bit less than PS4 and Xbox Series selling a little bit more than Xbox One. But Xbox Series underperformed this generation. Nintendo Switch effectively overperformed like I thought it would. Nintendo Switch 2 has been overperforming like I thought it would. PS5 has remained pretty constant, pretty stable. So I think that PS5 will be quite close to PS4. A little bit below or a little bit above. But not in DS, PS2, Nintendo Switch territory. But that's still going to be a very successful system in PS5 at the end of it all, Especially getting GTA 6 that late into the system's life. When the system's 6 years old, it's going to be a jolt of electricity. Xbox Series should also benefit from GTA 6 when it comes out. although less probably than PS5 will benefit. Although the big difference maker is if Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out day and date on the Nintendo Switch 2, it's like all bets are off because the trump card, the big system seller, formerly almost exclusive to Sony and Microsoft, if that game, which is going to be the biggest best-selling game of the generation, it's going to be the best-selling game of the year. Not even a new Pokemon game would top it. And that would carry into 2027. If that game also comes out on Nintendo Switch 2, even if it's not day and date, let's say it's like November and March, like 4 months later. Oh, nothing's going to stop Nintendo Switch 2. If it doesn't come out, then next November, yeah, PS5 might win next November also. There's going to be bundles. There's going to be so much fervor. The hype is going to be unreal for that game. A lot of people are going to pick up a system for it. But if that game's also on Nintendo Switch 2, they're like, wow, this system's newer. It's probably going to have a longer life. It has the portable aspect. It has all the Nintendo Switch games. It has upgrades to them. It's got this new Zelda game. Oh, this new Mario game. Oh. It's got cheaper online. And it's got GTA 6. And it's got Call of Duty. And Madden. And my WWE. And the Mario Karts. Whoo. Nothing will stop Nintendo Switch 2 from winning that November, you know? So, yeah, GTA 6 is a very important one. If Nintendo could get it, dang. It's going to be amazing. Paul, do you think if Xbox stops making hardware, Nintendo will go back and try to make a system as strong or stronger than the PlayStation like the GameCube and N64 was back in the day? I think that Nintendo is in such a healthy position now where they've got a strong, competent system that is quite cutting edge. You know, it's quite modern in every aspect of it, rivaling PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series in what it could do, but with less horsepower. That I don't think they're going to go back to making anytime soon like a one designated top box system and then like a handheld on the side. I think this was the right path for them to take, finding a fine balance between home console and portable console, leveraging in favor for strength over, you know, battery life. Because battery life, you could plug it in to the wall next to you in portable mode. You could get an external battery pack. You could dim the brightness a little bit. You could wear earphones. You don't have to have the speaker as loud. There are different things. But the pure power and the specs, DLSS, you can't change those things once it comes out. So going as hard as they did, I think was the right move. And they achieved overall this quite fine balance of, yeah, dude, when you're buying a Nintendo system, you're buying now a GameCube and a Game Boy Advance, a Wii and a DS, a Wii U and a 3DS, a Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and a Game Boy, a Nintendo 64, and a Game Boy Color. This is starting with Nintendo Switch, going back to just an NES. Nintendo Switch 2, back to just NES and Nintendo Switch, where you're going to get a lot of output, a lot of support from Nintendo for years. And since it's a stronger, more competent system and happening to sell well, you're attracting a lot of third parties, and it's Nintendo's ultimate recipe for success. So I think they kind of stick with what they're doing. Switch 1 was at 50/55 million when PS5 launched. If Nintendo Switch 2 hits that number before PS6 launches, it will have lapped Sony with Switch 1 and Switch 2. Gosh, imagine if Rockstar does what Capcom did and bring GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, and GTA 6 to the Switch 2 at all the same time. Woo! A really big Rockstar package? Gosh, it's too big. It's too good to be true, probably. But would be Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA 4, and GTA 5. You see how well that triple pack would do? Maybe you release all three independently on the eShop. but maybe you have all three natively on a cartridge in stores, or it's a key card, or like one of the games is on the cartridge, the other two are download or something like that. You have some nice little box set, a collector's edition, or just a normal edition package, but you have it available to be purchased in retail. And you do something like a March release, so it's a good 8 months before GTA 6, and you see just how many people are buying GTA 4, 5, and then this Red Dead Redemption 2 game on Nintendo Switch 2, and you get that extra motivation to release GTA 6. Of course, you had to have been working on it for a while. You can't just port it in a night, port it in a month, and like, wow, what a year that would be. Back all. GTA 4 is the forgotten middle child. I wonder what Metro Prime 4 sales are looking like. Yeah, Metro Prime 4 Beyond was not on the Japanese top 10. I imagine it's in the top 30, at least the Nintendo Switch 2 version. But yeah. Okay, before we end the stream, we hit the 64-minute mark. That was the goal. Always is. Let's go over some of the games that are coming out for Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026 and look at just how impressive this is, okay? Ready, folks? Animal Crossing New Horizon, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Not entirely a new game, but a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, considerable, with the base NS version also getting free updates. Mario Tennis Fever, a brand new game. Pokemon Pokopia, another brand new title. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, another new game. Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 edition. An update, but still going to be packaged and sold as such as a new game basically on NS2. Tamagotchi Life, Living the Dream, a new game. Rhythm Heaven Groove, another new title. Splatoon Raiders, another new game. The Duskbloods, another new title. Professor Layton and the New World of Steam, another new game. So you've got some heavy hitters there. Did I say Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave? I think I skipped it up by mistake. You've got 9 new games right there and 2 Nintendo Switch 2 editions. That's really quite impressive. That's a great start for exclusives. Now you could say, well, some of these games are also releasing on Nintendo Switch, or some of these games are already on Nintendo Switch, but regardless, to the Nintendo ecosystem, that's 11 exclusives right there. I think the only port Rockstar tried for GTA 4 was Vita, which failed. Wow, never mind, PS5 is at 86 million, Switch is at 155. 155 minus 86 is 69 difference. 69 plus 15, Switch 2 is 84. That's almost being leaped by LOL. I'm just being silly. Nintendo Prime is here. Ninty Prime, what's up? Ninty Prime. Paul not using dark mode on X will bother me until the day I die. By the way, Ninty Prime, you're here. The next comment you type will be a little bit different. I mean, I could highlight it for you, Nate. There we go. Is that a little bit darker? I don't know. I actually wouldn't know where to go right now by default to switch it over like to dark mode. It's just as default as it gets. I'm like, I don't know. Whatever. Probably there's some button that you try dark mode out. But yeah, I never have done so. Beyond those 11 exclusive games, let's look at this list and check out the third-party titles. And I kind of have them listed as games in the beginning that are new to ones that are eventually like, okay, considered ports, but still new for Nintendo. Pragmata, Resident Evil Requiem, Deca Police, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, South of Midnight, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Gold Edition, Resident Evil Village Gold Edition, Borderlands 4. That's 22 games right there. You've got a couple dozen easy titles that, like I mentioned in the tweet, not everyone is going to say all 22 of those are for me. But prior to us even having a February Direct, presumably we'll get one in the month of February, 2 months from now, this is already a very strong, solid look. Even if you say, all right, I'm taking Animal Crossing away, I'm taking Super Mario Bros. Wonder away, those already exist, not counting them. You still got 9 new exclusives to Nintendo Switch 2. Even if you're like, you know what, I'm also going to take away Tamagotchi Life and Rhythm Heaven because those are also available on Nintendo Switch. And I'm going to take away Professor Layton too. You still got 6, half a dozen exclusives for Nintendo Switch 2. That's one every 2 months. People complaining about gaming costing too much. So what, you want more games to pay more money? Be happy that there's only 6 for you. Otherwise, you would be having to spend more. Not to say that those 6 are for everyone either. But just look at the variety. There's a lot. And then when you look at this other batch of 11, 3 of them off the top are brand new in Pragmata, Resident Evil, Requiem, and Decapolice. So even if you're like, yeah, I don't care about FF7 or Elden Ring or Fallout or South of Midnight, Indiana Jones, any of the other Resident Evils or Borderlands 4. Those are still new entries for Nintendo Switch 2. Those are still going to be considerable releases for folks out there. So if you add those 6, you add those 3, you've got an easy 9 new games coming, either exclusive or day and date releases. And then I added 2 more to make it an even 2 dozen. 007 First Light, another new game. That's 10. Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection, another new game. Now you're back to 11 brand new games in 2026. Over half of them exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2. Beyond half of them are exclusive to the Nintendo ecosystem. And then, like, as I had this tweet going on, people were like, don't forget, there's also Trails in the Sky, 2nd chapter. Oh yeah, that's true. That's another good game. Orbitals and Glaciered, 2 more console exclusives. We saw Orbitals at the Game Awards, right? And then I have other people saying like, oh yeah, don't forget, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. Oh my gosh, Dragon Quest VII, for crying out loud. That's another big one. So if you add that person's Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and you go into Orbitals and Glaciered and Trails of the New Sky, that's 4 more to my 28 games. Come on. If you're complaining that gaming is costing too much, you shouldn't be complaining about the lack of gaming, because you would be spending even more money if you had more games available, to which you're complaining about having to spend more money on games. Buy fewer, make greater experiences for fewer titles. Get more out of less than having to buy everything and spend more that you're not pleased with spending more at the end of the day, you know? Dude, the outlook of 2026 is excellent. Someone said that the point of consoles is affordable gaming, and Nintendo is being greedy for not publishing their games on Steam. Nintendo's a first-party company. They've always been. Yeah, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, they released Super Mario Run on iOS. iPhone and iPad got that game. Okay. Yeah, Fire Emblem, Dragalia Lost, Mario Kart Tour, games that released on Android and Apple devices. But other than that, no, Nintendo is they make their console, they make their games, they make their controllers, they make their games for their controllers, for their systems, and they release it. And they're making movies, and they're making theme parks, and they've got lots of stuff coming out. Come on now. Whoa, what is this voodoo magic? That's called blue logo. Blue name? Blue? Moderator blue? It's called being blue. Excited for the new direct countdown? Yeah. I don't know if I have a 76-day countdown to do for that game. Heck, it might not even be 76 days away. 76 days away takes us too far past the middle of February. You know, it takes us into like March territory at that point. Chances are we'll have a 2-day countdown for the February Direct. Do I do a countdown for it? I mean, maybe. We'll see. Excited for Tamagotchi Life, yeah. Monster Hunter Stories 3, yeah. Game Awards Trauma, Half-Life 3, Hope. Imagine Valve is like, yeah, coming to Steam Deck and the Steam Machine exclusively. November 2026, Half-Life 3. Ooh, that would help some sales of their devices. Oh man, the Duskbloods is only on Nintendo Switch 2. Imagine the people, oh man, Half-Life 3 is only on this Steam Machine or Steam Deck. Be kind of funny. And this is exactly what it means when I say make it make sense. I love that you just put it out there. And this is exactly what it means when we say make it make sense. I love that you put it out there. Like regarding the titles, like regarding the titles, yeah, if that's what you're talking about, yeah, the outlook of 2026 is solid. Paul, don't forget Mario Galaxy on the NVIDIA Shield, yeah. Just realized this reminds me of Todd Howard. Wait, is he your brother? That is a good photo. Well, let's actually look at Todd Howard and me side by side. There we go. No, he's not my brother. But Todd is cool. Yeah, Game Awards was fun. NVIDIA Shield is an Android device. They said people only buy Nintendo consoles for the exclusives, and I said that's the point of consoles. Then they said it's BS. There is truth to the fact that over the years, traditionally, far more Nintendo games would sell on Nintendo systems than third-party games. There was a time where third parties were a little apprehensive of putting their games on Nintendo systems because they didn't see them selling as well, or that it would get cannibalized by a Nintendo system or by a Nintendo game release, you know. However, the Nintendo audience has expanded. The core base is bigger. Gaming is bigger than ever before. The ease of access to playing games at home on your TV and portably is undeniably attractive. And Nintendo Switch is the only mainstream dedicated video game device that allows you to do that until now with Nintendo Switch 2. So as long as Nintendo has that, as third parties saw, their sales fare better than in the past on previous Nintendo systems. On Nintendo Switch, they were more inclined, more motivated to hop on the Nintendo Switch 2 bandwagon earlier than not, have a greater outlook. Still not the same easy process to port something over with, x86 architecture and what Nintendo's got going on with NVIDIA, but they're seeing that the effort is worth it. When you're looking at Hogwarts Legacy and you're seeing how many people bought the Nintendo Switch version, why was it important and valuable for us to upgrade the heck out of this NS version for Nintendo Switch 2? Because sales are worthwhile in doing so. And that's what helped WB lead to the decision. And then we have that game sitting at 40 million. Now that's across all platforms, but if the Nintendo Switch version wasn't selling well, if they didn't have faith in the Nintendo Switch 2 version, they wouldn't have put that. So the outlook of third-party support is quite positive going forward. The main holdback that a lot of people have is the game key card thing. But we're going to have some more cartridge possibilities in the future. We'll have some different file sizes. You will not have game key cards exist. As games get bigger, those bigger games are going to continue being digital download only and or key card. But some smaller ones being out there are going to mean, yeah, we're going to get some more cartridge options as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag going forward. But like I said in the previous stream, I think it was in yesterday's stream, the generation of youth now growing up from the get-go, they didn't have to buy a VHS tape. They didn't have to go rent a DVD. They didn't have to buy a cassette or go to the store and get an album, get a record, get a compact disc with music on it. They didn't even have to go online and download a song. YouTube plays it. They don't have to go to a rental store. They could stream a movie off of Amazon. They don't have to buy a box collection. Like back in the day, you had to record your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon episodes before many years would pass to be able to buy every episode 3 at a time on a VHS cassette tape. And you know how many cassettes you had to own to have the whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1980s to early 90s series? And now you could have all of Power Rangers, all 10 seasons of this show, all 5 seasons of Stranger Things at any time available to you on Netflix. You used to get Smallville once a week for 10 years. And now, those people back then, if they wanted the whole Smallville series, had to buy the series on DVD or eventually Blu-ray or something like that. Folks these days, I can watch all of Flash or all of Supergirl on the CW app or on HBO Max. This is the generation of the future. So there is less care of, oh no, I'm not going to have the cartridge and I'm not going to be able to have this up on my shelf and I'm not going to be able to look at this. They didn't even grow up with this, so this means less. Doesn't mean to diminish the older folks that have been around for a while that love that stuff, but you can't stop reality. And when you have more and more people being grown into a new era, that is slowly going to take over. So as long as gaming is still badass and awesome, fun and imaginative, giving you probably the best bang for your buck, because you go to a movie theater and you pay $20 for a 2-hour film that you don't get to own and take home, or you pay $70 for a 30-hour game that you do have, and whether it's digital or key card or whatever, you're still, I'm having 30 hours of fun with this $70 thing. And I get to play it for more than this weekend or next weekend. And will I be able to download it again in 20 years from now and sell it and pass it on to my kids and grandkids? Not the thought process that a lot of people are going into. You know what I mean? So gaming is here to stay. We're going to get different levels of pushback. Prices are going to go up. Gaming releases in sheer quantity is probably going to go down in terms of big titles. But indies are here. We're still going to get support. What you don't have in a giant game coming out as frequently, you're going to get some ports from yesteryear. You're going to get some remakes and remasters and reimagines and indie supports. And then you're still going to have studios like Nintendo that release their big, we've been working on this for 6 years, put 130 million in it. And we worked on this one for like 2 years and put in 18 million, and there you go. And other studios are going to follow suit too. And some will still follow the old trend of like, no, we only release blockbusters once every 4 years and we rely on third parties. But gaming is fine. No reason for the doom and gloom. Oh, November sales were down. Fine, dude. It's okay. Don't get complacent. Don't get cocky. Don't not look at data, but also no reason to paint a negative picture when one isn't needing of it, you know? Nintendo Switch 2 is so impressive. a tablet gaming running PS4 games, now Switch 2, slightly bigger tablet running PS5 games. Look at the difference in sizes. Yeah, Nintendo Switch, it's an amazing, this big of a system that plays games on this big of nature from Xbox One and PS4, and then quite comparable, like you said. Nintendo Switch 2, this big of a system at the end of the day, playing PS5 and Xbox Series X and S games. Like, excellent device. I buy Switch for exclusives. PS1 and PS2 games I buy for it too. 42 watching, 38 likes. Thank you, thank you. Speaking of value, Expedition 33 is on sale for $40. That's a good value. That is true. True, Paul. Until gaming becomes fragmented and you gotta pay for an EA app to play EA games and Nintendo app for Nintendo games and such forth. Yeah, I did see that price multiple times. I don't like Expedition 33 for a lot of reasons, but my number one reason are combat and AI. Unless you get food theater, don't have to pay for food. Yeah, food in theater could be expensive. True. They just started taking cards a few years ago and they raised their prices so much. Just don't buy movie snacks anymore. One thing I dislike about PC gaming is the many launchers. Like you have to open Steam, then opens the launcher, then it opens the game. Bruh, I just want to play the game. Yeah, I mean, that is a true thing. But even that, like, as annoying as it would be, talk about a first world problem if in order to play a new Sonic the Hedgehog or Streets of Rage game, I have to buy this cartridge or disc or this download or this key card, plug it in, then on my Nintendo Switch 2 or PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, I have to download the Sega app, which let's say it's free, but you gotta download the Sega app onto your system, plug in an email address, verify captcha code with your phone, bomb QR code, all this junk. Then you get that new Sonic game or Streets of Rage game, you plug it into your system, then you're able to play. That would be annoying. But talk about a first world problem. If that's the case, and it's still like, dude, this $60 gave me 20 hours of dope Sonic gameplay, yeah, and I have to have this download, and I got an email, like, whatever, dude. Not ideal. I don't want that to happen. Oh, and I have to download the Square Enix app just to play Final Fantasy XVII. You don't have to pay for Final Fantasy XVII's right to play it. You have to buy the game. You don't have to buy the app, but you got to download the app. Heck yeah. Is that frustrating? Would that be annoying? Uh-huh. But that's not going to stop me from gaming. You know what I mean? Oh, last thing. I saw this morning. Damon Ex Machina Titanic Scion is on sale now. But still, I just found out you need internet to play GTA or Red Dead Online. I agree. I don't play some games because they require launchers too much, gobbling up my PC. Just let us play the game. Talk about first world problems, bro. I'm from the third world. I beat Damon Ex Machina Titanic Scion, and OMG, you guys, it's really fun. Super dark. Our theater is $9 for popcorn. It's expensive, but really good. Oh yeah, what do you think about people wanting Nintendo to buy Square Enix? Nintendo, if someone were to buy Square Enix, I don't think Square Enix should allow themselves to be purchased. I think that they're going to benefit more in the long run. Maybe not. I think they would benefit in the long run by getting their stuff together and continuously releasing games on multiple platforms. However, if someone were to buy them, I see how Nintendo has handled the parties they acquired, like Monolith Soft, like Retro Studios before them, that I think with Nintendo's expansion, with them opening up a new building, new headquarters to fund new development, with how Nintendo is seemingly only getting bigger and better with movies, with partnerships, with third parties, mm, the longevity, that nature of relationship with Square in the past, even though there was a tumultuous time there, between like 1996, 2002 kind of, and then it took a while to like get back. I think Nintendo would be my favorite to, if someone were to acquire Square Enix, it would be them. Because I think you would get a regular existence of new big games, small games, medium sized games out of the studio, and maybe even cool things like a Kingdom Hearts equivalent Final Fantasy slash Zelda crossover, or a Nintendo Cinematic Universe slash equivalent of Kingdom Hearts type of game that is this big RPG with Nintendo characters. Super Smash Brothers, the RPG, you know what I mean? Not the fighting game, but the action RPG. Something like that. So I think the most potential with crossover IP, with history, with going forward, with types of projects, with the support that Nintendo has given to the studios they acquired that are now fully their own. Even though I think Square Enix should remain a third party and distribute everywhere, if someone were to get them, yeah, my money would be on wanting it to be Nintendo, thinking that that would be probably the best. The last thing before we end the stream. First four figures. Put this up today. It is the Decayed Master Sword, life-size statue from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. You could take the Master Sword out. You could wield it around. And the exclusive edition lights up. Woo! The Master Sword itself lights up. Look at that beautiful LED. The base lights up. The Master Sword lights up independently when not in the base. You can have an animated mode that you're seeing now, or a static mode. Dude, that is elegant. I mean, the Master Sword looks like hell, because it's been through hell, but still looks awesome. Ooh, shoot. Who wants that? Who wants that Master Sword? Oh. If you want the Master Sword, let me know. I'll hook you up. I get it at a discount. I'll buy it for you. I'll have them send it to your address. Pay me via Venmo or PayPal or something like that. I'll get you the Master Sword for a discount using mine. You get the benefit from having it shipped straight to you. Don't pay me more. Pay me what I got it for to give you a little bit of a kickback, a little bit of a discount, and enjoy the heck out of it. So if anybody wants this thing, let me know, because I get a discount on first four figure statues. Dang. $500 for the base, or $570 for the light up. You gotta go $570. I'm sorry. I hope that if anybody wants this and they're like, oof, I don't know, 500 versus 570, you gotta go with the 570. I'm sorry. You need the light. Take it from someone who has Samus Aran over here. Samus Aran lit up. is the way to go. Link on the King of Red Lions, lit up, is the way to go. Look at those beauties. Look at those beauties. You need lights, folks. You need lights. If you have the chance to get the light up version, you get the lights. Do you see my shorts for Metro Prime 4 Beyond? You see how awesome the lights look on Samus Aran or Meta Ridley? You need the light version. Paul, did you ask for the Master Sword for a review, like a game copy? No. Man, that would be cool. Like, if First Four Figures is like, hey, Paul, just want the Master Sword for free? I'd be like, all right. Heck yeah, dude. I would gladly accept it for free. I'd probably have to shift things around. I have a feeling I would move the Hylian shield down, put the Master Sword where it goes. Yeah, something like that. Roger Enyart, I need you to get me that for Christmas. You got it, Roger. If you want today, send me a DM. Let me know, like, hey, yeah, you actually want it? Yeah, for sure, good. And I'll buy it, and I'll use my discount, and you'll get an early numbered edition, and I'll have it sent to your house. And just Venmo me. Zelle, whatever. Yeah, you got it. It's expensive. Yeah, expensive, but dope. Lily is playing Princess Peach Showtime. Real question here. Are you hearing the news about Monolith Soft looking for devs for a new Zelda game? Do you think that means they are now just getting started on the next big Zelda game? I think Zelda's been in development for a while. Sneaking in to say hello before heading to work. Big boss is in today, so no watching streams while they are here. Thanks, Roger, for being here. I mean, even though I read that comment out of order, still, thank you for being here. Even for a little bit. You made it to the stream. 45 watching, 40 likes. Looking good. Nintendo Prime says, yeah, I need to talk to you about this. Pre-orders are live, right? Yes, they are, Ninty Prime. Nate, they went up today. So, as long as you order, anybody orders on their own within the next 38 and a half days, you do get that little discount. Like right now is discount time for the general folks. $20, $30, not bad. I get something on top of that. Lily will want this. Pokemon fans saying Joycey should get it too. My bank account says, not in this lifetime. Tabby is game. Tabby say he wanted it as a Christmas gift. Oh, a little $570 Christmas gift. That's pretty steep right there. Gosh, could you imagine could you imagine someone just be like, well, okay, so this thing is not going to come out for like a year or something like that. You do wait some time. Yeah, Q4 2026. So think like December next year, which actually isn't that bad. I've waited longer for FRF statues. But sometime between between December like 26 and like January, March 27 at the latest, I would say. That's when you're expecting to get this beautiful statue. But imagine you had a friend that bought this thing knowing that you're like some big Zelda fan. And they're like, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to take this year to pay it off and stuff like that. Chip away. And then you're like at this friend's house for a Christmas party, Secret Santa, White Elephant, something like that. Get together. And you got all of your friends and family members, cousins and stuff like that around. And it's like, by the way, here you go. Merry Christmas. Well, actually more like Merry Christmas. And this is big box. And that is like the gift that you got. Wow. That would be a pretty swell gift, I gotta say. I do not need this. I was meaning Nate will want this. Yeah. Nate will, yeah. Forgot to prepare my coffee this morning, and I do want one. It's coming now. I have no room in my room for it. My mom, porcelain figurine, already takes up so much space. You always have room. You always have room for more. You don't have wall space? You'll build a shelf and you stick that thing there. you you have like you got a kitchen? You throw this thing next to the microwave. You make that space. You got a living room floor? You stick that on the living room floor in the most inopportune space. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. No, they are pricey, but they're so worth it. They're so awesome. That would be awesome Christmas, but it's my car payment too. Yeah, $570 is not cheap. I have considered selling the car, but need the wheels. I mean, yeah, like car for transportation or Master Sword. I mean, you could walk places and ride bikes, but a Master Sword. We're talking Zelda here. Ninty Prime says, my first four figures shield demands this by its side. Yeah, it does. Nate, you have the light up Hylian shield, right? I think, yeah. My mom's porcelain figures are all over the house. Well, it's time to show your mom, Mom, I got this hobby and this appreciation level of collecting things from you. Merry Christmas. I just wanted to add stuff to your empire of porcelain figures, Mom. There's an excuse. Huddy40, yo, Paul, what's up, Huddy? Good to see you here. I mean, don't tempt me. I knock people with the sword. It's not full length because it's decayed. Would be cool if First Four Figures made another Master Sword that was like the full sword. Although that would take up a lot of height or a long width, right? I mean, I have the Proplica one, which is life size. And if First Four Figures made one, presumably it would be the same dimensions. It'd be kind of big. I did pre-order the Expedition 33 Esquire plush off of IGN yesterday. That's cool. I don't know what I'm going to play after I beat Metroid Prime 4 tonight. Oh, Carlton-san, I hope you have fun. Hope you have fun in your final frame of the game. It's been nice hearing, reading, seeing other real people's thoughts on Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, because the game shouldn't be as polarizing in review disparity as it is. It's a great game. And some of the hate was so unjustified. I get it if you don't jive with me and my 9.5 or even a 9 or an 8.5, but folks saying that sucks or it's bad are completely lying about the game because they didn't play it, are just hating for the heck of it for fun. Or maybe if somebody truly played the game, truly beat the whole game, and still found it to be like a 4, sub-mediocre, sub-average in quality and overall fun and enjoyment factor, yet they stuck with it and played it, begrudgingly, seemingly so, to the end. Hey, respectfully, your opinion is now valid, but it truly is this outlier of an opinion in my mind of how much the game is right that, hey, that's your thought, but it doesn't reflect at all, I think, what the majority would feel based off of my impressions of reviewing the game and how I see it. You know what I mean? So, as more reviews come out, as more people have actually been talking about it, I'm like, dude, Yeah, this is what I've known all along since I beat it, since I played it. It's fantastic. Paul, what are you currently playing? A little bit of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and I'm getting back into Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment because I was playing it, knew that I'm probably not going to beat it on time for Metro Prime 4 Beyond. Then I shit the gears to MP4 Beyond to beat it. So a little bit of Final Fantasy, and then I'm intending on getting back into regular Hyrule Warriors play. Angels, kids, cats, teacups, the Ark, Santa Claus, people on bikes, people walking porcelain figures everywhere. So many eyes watching you. That's funny, Tsukino. If you think it sucks, you don't like Metro style games. It's fantastic, in my opinion. Of course, yeah, no, the game is fantastic. Top notch level of graphics, polish, shine, non clipping, in a solid class of loading, music, atmosphere, art design, particle effects, navigation, map system, clarity, some comedic bits with voice acting, arsenal, power ups, level of progression, strengthening, fun factor, bike, sense of wonder, awe, inspiring moments and visuals, options, motion control. You got gyro here, you got mouse mode there, you got dual analog there. You've got two different versions of the game running solid across the board. Appropriate appropriate file size, given just what the game is producing. Options with 64K and 120 1080. Like, those are all the makings of a technically sound, really good product. Just how much fun you like in it, and whether or not somebody talked too much, or something was a little bit too bland, or a little frustrating in this area or that area, or the modern save trope or something. Like, nothing bad though. You either just don't like that type of game, are not a very accurate reviewer, or you didn't just play it and you just want to hate to hate. I can honestly say, just the opening itself was stunning, and I'm enjoying the game thoroughly. It's not my typical game style, so anyone saying it stinks truly hasn't given it a fair chance. Very good point. I had to take my mom's figures out of my room and put them in the living room with others. So many eyes. That's funny. That's funny. All right, everybody. I think that's going to do it for our stream. We did 107 minutes. We hit our Nintendo 64-minute goal. This late into the stream, hour 40. Solid. Still have 30 people watching. Thank you all so much. 40 plus likes. Thank you all for doing that. Anything else? We went over Famitsu. We went over... Didn't watch the shorts. But if you didn't watch the shorts, if you don't mind checking out the shorts, thank you as always. Yeah, that's fun. There was one thing I was like, oh yeah, I also put this up on X. Oh yeah, my sales approximation, which when we look at what we did earlier, I think this is still holding quite true for the remainder of the year. These were my numbers. Knowing that 10.316 million, 10.36 million, knowing past Wii U, knowing 15 million, these were what I estimated previously. These are what I estimated based off of newer information. This is that total. And then when you're looking at data from today that was shared, I think you could say Nintendo Switch 2 is probably at that 15.4 million right now. I think that's fair to say. And as we talked earlier, could even be higher than that. Could be 15.5. But I'm not making any new claims, nothing like that, All right, though. W Stream, thank you. Thank you all for being here. This was a fun stream. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. Tomorrow, Friday. I might be streaming tomorrow morning. We really hit a good one today. Good one yesterday. I think that was 4 in a row for the week, which is good. I like to see that. Thank you for the stream. You're welcome. For those of us who are older, you remember when the Wind Waker released? Some negative reviews as well. Now it's a beloved classic. Yeah, absolutely. Wind Waker is fantastic. Excellent game. Has held up the test of time. Has lasted. Yeah. I said that a little bit funny. But wonderful. Catch y'all later. Thank you again for being here. See you soon. Oh, you're welcome for welcoming to the chat. You're all welcome here.